Hello everyone. This is going to be a bit long, so let's get right into it. This story is in both Luke and Mark, but let's read the Luke version. Luke chapter 8, verse 26. They sailed to the region of Gerasenes, which is across the lake from Galilee. When Jesus stepped ashore, he was met by a demon-possessed man from the town. For a long time this man had not worn clothes or lived in a house, but had lived in the tombs. So first quick note, this is probably directly after Jesus calms a storm, so I can only imagine what the disciples were like at this point. They were all probably soaking wet, tired, and probably still have their adrenaline going from the fear. So I'm sure when a naked, demon-possessed man came towards them from a tomb, they were probably just at ease, weren't they? No, they were probably terrified. This was a rough day for them. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell at his feet, shouting at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, don't torture me." For Jesus had commanded the evil spirit to come out of the man. Many times it had seized him, and though he was chained hand and foot and kept under guard, he had broken his chains and had been driven by the demon into solitary places. Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "Legion," he replied, because many demons had gone into him, and they begged him repeatedly not to order them to go into the abyss. I was thinking about the name Legion, and I was like, that has to be a band name. I looked it up, and it is, of a deathcore band. Never heard of them because they've hardly made anything. Anyways, that's off topic. So this is the worst demon possession recorded in the Bible. The demons were very strong because they could even break chains. Something that I find really funny is that the people who recognize Jesus faster and more assuredly are demons. All of the disciples have their moments of doubt, and they're the ones who are most loyal. But the demons can see exactly what Jesus was, and it terrified them. I'm curious what the demons saw. Maybe it would have terrified us as well. A large herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside. The demons begged Jesus to let them go into them, and he gave them permission. When the demons came out of the man, they went into the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and was drowned. It's not completely clear what happened to the demons, but it seems like they maybe got off easy. They desperately did not want to be sent to the abyss, which is a bottomless pit. Reminds me of the void in Minecraft, except in Minecraft the game will just kill you so that you don't keep falling. But I guess in the real abyss, the demons just keep falling. It looks like it's only a specific prison for demons, so thankfully we don't have to worry about that. But it's not mentioned specifically what happened to these ones, because they probably didn't die with the pigs, at least not how I understand it, so it's unclear. When those tending the pigs saw what had happened, they ran off and reported this in the town and countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they found the man from whom the demons had gone out, sitting at Jesus' feet, dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it told the people how the demon-possessed man had been cured. Then all the people of the region of Gerasenes asked Jesus to leave them, because they were overcome with fear. So he got into the boat and left. The man from whom the demons had gone out begged to go with him, but Jesus sent him away, saying, "Return home, and tell how much God has done for you." So the man went away and told all over town how much Jesus had done for him. Their fear makes sense. Imagine there is a demon-possessed man in your town. He's scary beyond all reason, and he's also super dangerous, like he can break chains. You would probably fear for your life, even when he's not in the immediate area. But then a man comes along and just dominates the demons. I'm sure some of the bystanders gained a healthy fear of Jesus, but some had a fearful fear, if that makes sense, because they thought, if he can do that to the most powerful thing I've ever seen, then what can he do to me? So they wanted him to leave. But the man who was now not demon-possessed was so excited. He was ready to become the 13th disciple, but Jesus' plans were for him to spread the word in his hometown. And it doesn't say if he acknowledged Jesus as the Messiah or not, but he did have faith in Jesus. Now let's read another story. Luke 8:40. Now when Jesus returned, a crowd welcomed him, for they were all expecting him. Then a man named Jairus, a ruler of the synagogue, came and fell at Jesus' feet, pleading with him to come to his house, because his only daughter, a girl of about 12, was dying. As Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. A woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you." But Jesus said, "Someone touched me. I know that power has gone out of me." Then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet. In the presence of all the people, she told why she had touched him, and how she had been instantly healed. Then he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." So Jesus here is on his way to perform another miracle when a different miracle surprises him. But a typical pattern in the gospel is that Jesus either finds the outcasts or the outcasts find him. This woman was considered unclean for 12 years. She literally couldn't touch anyone or really even be near them. So marriage was completely out of the question. She couldn't have a job. I mean, a normal woman getting a job was difficult anyways. She was a disgrace to her family. So her only option really was secluded homelessness for over a decade. I mean, the lepers had terrible lives, but at least they had colonies. But she touched Jesus and she was healed. And it's important to note what Jesus said. Your faith has healed you. Which, when you think about it, that makes a lot of sense. Like Simon Peter said, everyone was touching Jesus. But Jesus' power left for no one else, and no one claimed it did either. She had so much faith in Jesus' power that, well, it's kind of strange, isn't it? Because we know she didn't steal Jesus' power, but it did catch Jesus off guard. I suppose what this proves is that the Father works through the Son. Jesus needs the power of the Father because he was still human. And like I said, he didn't predict this event, and there's a lot of other things that surprised him throughout the gospel. So maybe he had the brain capacity of a normal human as well, because he can see the future, but only through what the Father gives him. Maybe he couldn't fit all of the secrets of the universe and time in his brain. But in some strange way, he was still God. Fascinating, isn't it? Maybe after he was resurrected, his mind was expanded in some way. I'm getting way off topic, but that's okay. Let's just move on to verse 49. While Jesus was still speaking, someone came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue ruler. "Your daughter is dead," he said. "Don't bother the teacher anymore." Hearing this, Jesus said to Jairus, "Don't be afraid. Just believe, and she will be healed." When he arrived at the house of Jairus, he did not let anyone go in with him except Peter, John, and James, and the child's father and mother. Meanwhile, all the people were wailing and mourning for her. "Stop wailing," Jesus said. "She is not dead, but asleep." They laughed at him, knowing that she was dead. Wailers and mourners is another example of a weird tradition. Parents of a dead child could probably mourn without help. But even so, Jesus told no one to cry, because he was going to fix it. It's hard to know what was going through Jairus' mind, but it was probably a mix of faith and fear. The mourners thought Jesus was being ridiculous. In other versions, it quickly mentions that the mourners were told to leave, so it's just Jesus, the parents, and 3 disciples now. But he took her by the hand and said, "My child, get up." Her spirit returned, and at once she stood up. Then Jesus told them to give her something to eat. Her parents were astonished, but he ordered them not to tell anyone what had happened. Another great miracle. I like the conclusion that the Enduring Word makes on this passage, so I'm going to end by paraphrasing it here. So these 2 miracles were very different, but Jesus still took care of both of them. The woman had 12 years of pain, and Jairus had 12 years of happiness that was nearly lost. The woman was a poor outcast, but Jairus was probably a very wealthy and important man. The woman's miracle was in public, but she came in secret. Jairus came in public, but the miracle was in secret. The woman's miracle happened instantly, but the girl's miracle happened when it seemed too late. This shows that God is with us no matter what the circumstances. Sometimes it just might not seem like He is with us as He is with others, but He is here nonetheless. Thanks, guys.